Jai Hind to all the future officers. Welcome to the second part where we were studying about the information or the defense knowledge regarding the Indian Navy. Friends, this is the second video, after which the third video will come and our maximum portion about the knowledge of Indian Navy would be completed. Then the modernization plan and some basic terms or topics are remaining of Indian Navy. I would bring the separate video with the Army and Air Force comparison so that you will understand it in the better way. So after this video, one more video will come and whole knowledge about Indian Navy would be completed. Okay, so now starting with the aircraft carriers, you can see in the image this is the aircraft carrier. What is an aircraft carrier? Generally, you can see a landing stripe on this aircraft carrier. So when the Navy has the aircraft carriers, so when in the war, the aeroplanes, fighter jets, or helicopters can land on this aircraft carrier or can be launched from this aircraft carrier. So that is the simple thing. And from the oceans, the aircrafts fighter jets can be launched, and this is the major operation. Suppose we have to attack in Pakistan, so our aircraft carrier will move till Karachi side. There, from there, the planes will go from launch from this aircraft carrier, do the strike on the any Pakistani base, and then will return to this aircraft carrier. Okay, so this is the simple use of aircraft carrier. Our first aircraft carrier was INS Vikrant, and it was decommissioned in January 1997. After INS Vikrant, INS Virat was there, India's second aircraft carrier, which was again decommissioned in 6 March 2017. Then the Indian Navy, our third aircraft carrier, Indian Navy purchased it from Russia, and it was INS Vikramaditya. Okay, so as we purchased it from Russia, so its Russian name was Admiral Gorshkov. Okay, and it was procured at the cost of $2.3 billion. Okay, now till December 2013, until INS Vikrant was commissioned in September 2022. So till December 2013, India was only having one aircraft carrier, which was INS Vikramaditya. Then the process of slowly and gradually of INS Vikrant after 2013 was started. It was made in India only. INS Vikrant, don't confuse it with our first aircraft carrier. Our first aircraft carrier was INS Vikrant. Then again after 2013, the project of INS Vikrant of making it again new aircraft carrier was again started, and in September 2022, INS Vikrant was again commissioned. Okay, so it was new aircraft carrier made by India. Okay, now currently India is working on its third aircraft carrier, INS Vishal. So currently, how many aircraft carrier India have? India have INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant. Okay, now India is developing third aircraft carrier, INS Vishal. In our interviews, generally, if you go to Naval Selection Board, they might ask you that, okay, tell me the aircraft carrier which China has, which Russia have. Okay, so you have to know about your enemies also. When I was watching one of the interview on YouTube only, I came to know that one of the question was asked, tell me the battalion or the unit of Chinese part which were involved in Galwan Valley clash. So I was shocked that, okay, I know about India, but what about our enemy nations? So you have to know about our enemy nations also, which I will make the separate videos also, so you do not need to worry. Okay, now we will study about destroyer, frigates and corvettes. Okay, this is the very important question which is asked in any of the Naval Selection Board. Tell me difference between destroyer, frigate and corvettes. Okay, so first is guided missile destroyers. India currently have the Navy currently operates 3 Kolkata class, 3 Delhi class and 3 Rajput class guided missile destroyers. Okay, what is class? Class is generally same type of ships are known as class. So 3 Kolkata class, 3 Delhi class, 3 Rajput class guided missile destroyers India have. The ship of the Rajput class will be replaced in the near future by the next generation Vishakhapatnam class destroyer. Vishakhapatnam class destroyer is developed under the project 15B, which will feature a number of improvements. Okay, now see this image. You are seeing this image in the aircraft carrier is there. Side by the aircraft carrier, there is the destroyer. Okay, so what is the role of destroyer? Destroyer is generally having the speed, because aircraft carrier is big and heavy, so it can't move with the speed as the destroyer can move. Then it has good radars, it has anti-missile system, so that it can destroy the missiles coming from the enemies. It is used to protect our aircraft carrier. It has radars to track the enemy submarines. So all these things are upgraded in this missile destroyer. Okay, it is a small ship, okay, comparative to aircraft carrier. Then again, coming to the frigates, India currently have 14 stealth guided missile frigates. The stealth guided missile frigate includes Shivalik class. Shivalik class is being developed under the project I-6 class with 3 vessels, Talwar class with 6 vessels, Brahmaputra class with 3 vessels. What are the vessels? Vessels are generally ships. Okay, so Brahmaputra class have 3 ships as like this. Okay, and Godavari class with no vessels. Okay, so Godavari class is currently being developed. Godavari class frigates will systematically be replaced one by one as the new class of frigates are brought into the service over the new decade. Okay, now again what is the difference between, now what is frigate and what is difference between destroyer and frigate? Okay, so now frigate, you can see in this image, frigate is generally a small form of destroyer only. Okay, now it can move at more rapid speed than destroyer. Okay, it also has the radars, it also has the anti-missile system. See in this image, you will see a gun mounted here. Okay, this gun is to destroy the enemy aircraft or enemy missiles coming from the air. Okay, this have radars, tracking system, all these are same. This is the radar. Okay, if I zoom it, this is the radar. Okay, so this also have the same features, but the speed is the first and foremost primary important thing. Okay, they can go to some place at very fast speed. Okay, other than that, these features are there. Okay, so Godavari class, okay, I have covered it. Now coming to corvettes, now again destroyers. Then we have studied about frigates, then corvettes. Corvettes are more smaller than destroyers and frigates. Okay, so they can move at very rapid pace generally. Okay, these are similar littoral zones combatant in service in the form of corvettes, of which the Indian Navy operates the Kamorta class, Kora class, Khukri class, Veer class and Abhay class corvettes. Okay, so these corvettes are there. They also have the same features: tracking, radar tracking, firing. Okay, some helicopters can also land on it. But major thing is smaller size. As the size becomes smaller, the speed increases. Okay, the more bigger the ship, okay, more firepower they will have, more good radar or tracking system they will have. But as this ship becomes smaller, they will have the firepower, they will have the tracking system, they will have the radars, but at very low pace or at very minimum distance coverage. Okay, now, so your difference doubt between destroyer, corvettes and frigates would have been now cleared. Now coming to the warfares. Okay, there are different warfare ships also. So first is amphibious warfare ships. What is amphibious warfare ship? Friends, amphibians, animals which live in water as well as land. You know the definition. So same is there. This ship you are seeing, it has helicopters in the second base, it has tanks, it has various different ships in it. Okay, so what does these amphibious warfare ships are? They generally carries all these helicopters and all these things. It is like a small aircraft carrier. Okay, but aircraft carrier only had the landing stripes and all, but this also have the boats and other tanks also stored in it. Okay, these amphibious warfare ships, suppose again taking the example, you have to attack at the Karachi port. Okay, so this amphibious, so again if we go to Karachi, we have to attack the Karachi port. So this amphibious warfare ship will go. Okay, this amphibious warfare ships have helicopters on it. Okay, it doesn't generally have the landing strip for the fighter jets, but it has the helicopters, it has various boats also. So these boats can be dropped on the land. From these boats, soldiers can sit in these boats and can be delivered on the land. So generally these amphibious warfare ships have the role in water as well as land. India only have one amphibious warfare ship, INS Jalashwa, procured from US. Okay, these ships enable the country to project land combat power into another country without the use of port facilities. By this sentence, your doubt would have been completed. So all the land combat power which the country has to show into the another country, but they don't have the access to the ports, so it acts as a port on the water. Okay, now coming to the landing ships. Landing ships are the smaller version of the amphibious warfare ships. How? These ships are small. Amphibious warfare ships, if you see in this image, they carry huge amount of helicopters, boats, tanks, everything. But these landing ships are small. These are small, which means they would have good speed also. They would have good speeds, but they will carry less tanks, less people in it. Okay, so landing ships or the tank landing ship is the naval designation for the ships first developed during World War II to support amphibious operation by carrying tanks, vehicles, cargoes and landing troops directly onto shore with no docks. Okay, so generally amphibious ships cannot move to the particular port. Okay, they remain in the water. Then these landing ships carry these tanks, soldiers in it, and they move to the port and any land area, and then they do the strike. Okay, so carrying tanks, vehicles, cargo, landing troops directly onto shore with no docks. This enables amphibious assault on almost any beach. Presently, Indian Navy has Shardul class with 2 vessels and Magar class with 3 vessels and Kumbhir class with 4 vessels of this landing ships. Then landing crafts. Landing crafts are more smaller version. Okay, landing crafts are more smaller version of landing ships. What they can carry? Landing craft generally carry 1 tank. Okay, these are very small ships, so they can carry 1 tank. Okay, or any vehicle or any small vehicle they can carry. They are generally, landing crafts are used generally to carry the troops. Okay, the landing craft utility is the type of boat used by amphibious forces to transport equipments and troops to the shore. The LCU is capable of transporting tracked and wheeled vehicles and troops from amphibious assault ships to the beachheads. Okay, now your doubt would have been clear. Now, India have 1 nuclear power attack submarine, which is the Aryan class submarine, and India have conventionally powered attack submarines, which are Sindhu Ghosh class and Shishumar class. Okay, so 1 nuclear power attack submarine means not nuclear capable. Don't confuse it. Nuclear submarine is a submarine powered by a nuclear reactor, but not necessarily nuclear armed. Okay, so generally these ships run on the nuclear reactor energy. And conventionally powered attack submarines, they generally are propelled by electric motors powered by batteries, which are charged by diesel generators. Okay, so nuclear powered submarine have the edge on the conventional powered attack submarines. How? Because nuclear reactor has the greater fuel, greater energy, so submarines can remain in water for longer period of time. But comparing to the conventional power attack submarines, they generally need the diesel. Okay, so they have to come on the ground, on the shore, or have to come on the above the ocean surface, so that any ship can come and refill the diesel. So generally this is the benefit of nuclear power attack submarine over conventionally powered attack submarines. Okay, now Indian Navy also holds Pondicherry class mine countermeasure vessels, minesweeper vessel called INS Bhatkal active mine detection radar. So there are generally sea mines also, not generally landmines, but also the sea mines are also there. If a ship touches it or ship moves over it, it generally blasts. Okay, so India have mine countermeasure vessels, which is INS Bhatkal. India have patrol vessels, which generally are used by coast guards for surveillance. Okay, now India have fleet tankers, a very large ship used for transporting large quantities of gas or liquid, especially oils. Okay, so India have fleet tankers also. Various auxiliary vessels or support ships. Support ships or auxiliary vessel ship is a naval ship designed to support combatant ships and other naval operations. Okay, so they are generally a support type of ships. So Indian Coast Guard operates around 90 to 100 armed patrol ships of various sizes. Generally, I have told you the role of Coast Guard. They are generally for the patrolling purpose. They protect our maritime borders, they prevent the piracy and secure our borders. They are not involved in the wars. They conduct the rescue operations. Okay. Now, force multipliers of Indian Navy. Generally, when I told you about Indian Army, I told you that Indian Army has Army Aviation Corps. Okay, they are involved in various operations. Okay, they are air arm of Indian Army. Then I told you about special forces which are there in Indian Army, para SF. I will make a separate video on it. So they are generally force multipliers of Indian Navy, which gives extra strength to the force. So this same thing is with Indian Navy also. Indian Naval Air Arm. Okay, Indian Naval Air Arm consists of aircrafts like MiG-29K and the Sea Harrier jets that operate from the aircraft carrier INS Virat. Now INS Virat is decommissioned, so from INS Vikramaditya and Vikrant. Okay, the Kamau 31 helicopters provide the airborne early warning cover for the fleet in the anti-submarine role. This is the image of Kamau helicopters which you are seeing in this image, and they have generally this radar down in their downside, which is generally used to track the submarines which are under the water, and this is generally for giving the early warning. Okay, now India have Sea King, Ka-28 and domestic built HAL Dhruv helicopters are also used by Indian Navy. Indian Navy has also purchased more MiG-29K to operate from the aircraft carrier INS Vikramaditya. The Naval Air Arm also has around 30 UAVs like Heron and Searcher 2 that are operated from ships and shore for better surveillance. I have made a separate video on difference between UAV and drones. So if you have any doubt what are UAV or what are difference between drone, you can just refer to that video. Okay. Now talking about our second force multiplier, it is Marcos. Marcos are special forces of Indian Navy, and they are also known as Marine Commando Force, is special unit that was raised by Indian Navy in 1987. Marcos are invised to employed for direct action, special reconnaissance, amphibious warfare and counter-terrorism. Personnel drawn from regular Navy as volunteers for training and induction into the Commando Force. What are Marcos? They are also special forces of Indian Navy, like Para SF is for Indian Army and Garud is for Indian Air Force. Okay. Now important missile system held with Indian Navy. I have made two parts or two detailed videos about the missile system of India, in which I have covered each and every missile used by all our three services. So I have told you which missiles are used by Indian Navy. So here are the Dhanush, BrahMos cruise missile, Sagarika missile, K-15, K-4 missile, Nirbhaya missile. So all these missiles are used by Indian Navy. Okay, so to get the detailed knowledge about these missiles system, I have made the separate video, so you can refer to this video. So friends, this is all about our today's video of the second part of the knowledge on the Indian Navy. Now we are left with the role of Indian Navy in various operations. So this we will cover in our next video, and that would be our last video on the Indian Navy, and some little small topics I will cover in the separate videos. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Do correct me if I am wrong somewhere, and thank you so much.